Okay, so without wasting much time, I'll start. What we are going to deal with is the introduction of the developmental biology. So, you might have heard about this subject, and you might even have studied it in BSc. So, basically, we are trying to look at life and how gradually things develop from a single cell to the complex body structure that we associate animals with. So, not only in animals, but in developmental biology, it is a broad term that we are using. It includes also plants. So, not only animals, but plants, developmental biology will be studied under the head of developmental biology. Now, uh, you might have even heard about the term embryology. So, we will try to make a distinction between these two terms. Are they same? First of all, and if they are same, what is the distinction between developmental biology and embryology? What do you have to say? Are they same terms, embryology and developmental biology? Yes or no?
Quite same, sir.
They are same. So then why they have given a different term, developmental biology? Why we simply don't call it embryology? Okay, so embryology, the term embryo specifically is being mentioned here. So, are we going to restrict ourselves to the only study of embryo? That is a first question. If that is the case, then we can easily call it embryology. So, the progress of the development that we see in an embryo, right from the fertilization, we can call it as embryo or embryology. And here, what we are going to look at is the development of the embryo itself, the complete structure getting formed into a young adult, and not only that, post the formation of the young adult, what are the later developments post the embryogenesis, whatever developments are there, that also briefly would be touched in this. And it has a long life time span that is being covered under the developmental biology. So you will be even hearing about aspect of aging. So once aging sets in, and over the course of the organism's normal development post embryogenesis, what may happen is it may encounter some moments where they may lose limbs, and how the limbs get regenerated in some of the organisms, that also aspect would be covered. So uh, we know during the course of embryogenesis there is organogenesis, and then complex organs are getting developed also. So how each of these organs will get developed, we'll be looking at it. But if you want to get one more definition of developmental biology, what an angle we can associate from the perspective of biotechnology. Now you're a student of biotechnology, so what a developmental biologist would get from a biotechnologist? So, how can biotechnologists assist in the knowledge gaining process in the developmental biology? That we need to also ask, because we are studying biotechnology, so we need to always have an eye on biotechnological aspects. So, what do you think we are going to contribute in developmental biology, or what people like biotechnologists have contributed to developmental biology? Any idea you can give to me on this aspect? Yeah, students, what biotechnologists can contribute in this? So if you know it, this question, you will be happy to uh, understand that what I'm going to say is in agreement with what you know. But if you don't know, don't worry. We will be gradually understanding what is the role of biotechnologist in the developmental biology, and how it has contributed into the development of the knowledge that is there in developmental biology. So it is a very interesting field. So we'll gradually, once we cover this lecture, you will be able to know. So in this course, we'll basically be covering a few of the organisms. Uh, Now you are asking, immediately when we say that there is only few organisms, why only few organisms? If the biology term is being used, why not the whole of the kingdom of organisms, plant as well as animal, is not being covered under the head of developmental biology? So these are the few questions that we are asking. We are raising questions because ultimately, if you raise questions, you will seek answers, and then your knowledge will increase. So, and we'll see that over the course of the developmental biology history, people have raised few important questions, and some of these questions have uh, lingered on for many centuries. People didn't get exact answer to these questions for many centuries, even uh, thousands of years. People have waited for answers, and ultimately, now people have gained that much amount of knowledge, and people have now able to answer those questions that have been raised way back from the time we were looking around and trying to understand our environment. So we will be asking that question. So only why only few organisms? So the answer to that is, uh, it, it is good that we need to study only few organisms to get an idea of how the developmental process work in many organisms. Okay, that is because of the convenience the biology has offered to us, or the nature has offered to us, that mostly they follow common developmental program. Okay, there are of course differences in different organisms, but broadly they have a common developmental program that we can generalize, and generalization help us to overlay this information that we study on few organisms, and take it and use it on a different organisms, and seek the same things in those organisms, and we'll be able to easily find it out because of the convenience of knowing it in another organisms, because of their relatedness. And we know in biology, all organisms are related to some degree or other, some very close, others slightly distinct, but there is a relation, and hence due to this relationship that is existing among these organisms, we can generalize few aspects. I can safely say that most of the things can be generalized, and it can be picked up, and it helps us to understand uh, in many organisms how the process is going on. Now, when we speak about the developmental biology, so what is the point of beginning of our study? So we can safely say, we can bring in gametes. Okay, so that is part of reproduction, isn't it? So during the course of the reproductive development, gametes get generated, and we know there are two gametes, male and female, and these gametes, when they come together, they undergo fertilization process, and a zygote is born. So from the point of creation of the zygote, okay, we can start to understand the things. But zygote doesn't come from nowhere. It is having these seeds of these gametes, and hence we can take a step back and go into the reproductive development, understand these gametes, how they are, what are the different morphologies, and that point we can consider as the beginning. And then we can talk about the zygote development, zygote formation, fertilization process that is resulting in the zygote formation, and then on, which is a single cell, how complex multicellular entities develop gradually in a step-by-step process is rolled, and we understand it, and we see that it leads to ultimately a cyclical form where post zygote there is rapid cell division, which we call as cleavage. Followed by cleavage, what we find is uh, the gastrulation process, where there is rearrangement of the cells. So there is widespread movement that is occurring in the accumulated cells, rapidly accumulated cells. And later on, what happens is, this rearrangement leads to particular points that are getting created, where around which we get the development of various organs in a location that is intended for its work later on. And gradually the things are elaborated, and finally limbs develop, and what we get is a complete structure that is leading to formation of an adult.